you dumb, beautiful fucker.
Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Welcome to episode 236 of AllYouCanHear podcast. I'll be your host today, Patrick. And joining me today are my two crystalline co-hosts.
Banter Poop.
Comatose.
Banter Poop, Jonathan.
Oh, shoot. I forgot you got to say your name. You said Banter Poop, and I'm like, that's your name. That's your name. It's my turn now. No. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I didn't mean to jump ahead. It's me, Comatose Cole. I don't know where I'm at right now. I feel weird. Today's been weird.
Colt is locked in the prison of his own body.
It feels like it. I don't know.
This is what happens when you take too much spice. Like your brain expands past it, your body's ability to process it.
I assume so. Like I watched Dune last week, but ever since I've just been eating 3 cups of salt a day. I want to get all the water out of my body so I can become dehydrated enough to where I feel like I'm actually on the Arrakis.
Yeah. It's called salting. It's actually called the salt life. It's real big with like kids in the South, apparently.
Oh, yeah, and I'm also going to die in a month. It's all worth it.
Yeah, because they say when you die, you go to Iraqi, the salt planet.
Iraqi, you mean the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll meet you in Valhalla, Rocky.
You know that if
he dies, the motherfucker's like soaked in formaldehyde or some bullshit.
Yeah, he's not a human being that we have a full reckoning of.
Anyway, why are we here, Pat?
Yeah, today is a very special day. In case you didn't know, or if you did know, congratulations, you could read the title of the episode. Today is the 4th anniversary of me joining AYCH.
4 whole years. Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's a little funny time of year where we do an episode for me, which I always felt a little weird and it feels even more weird now that I'm the lead host. But it also makes for really easy booking on the show. Like 1st of November, guaranteed episode. Don't have to think about it. Just plug it in and go.
Easy.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's
breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Yep. So that's right. 208 episodes ago.
Epigodes.
Epigoing. No, 208 episodes ago, I debuted, and I've been here ever since. You can't get rid of me.
Pat, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
You and what army? I got this corkscrew between my fingers.
Oh.
You heard of brass knuckles? This is cork knuckles.
Oh, dear God.
What's that?
Huh? John's got a pen, and it looks kind of pointy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very well versed in the art of the shuriken.
As
many a story that has been told on this podcast will let you know.
And John can also make their legs go perpendicular to their body.
Oh, dearness.
Used to.
Hey, I didn't know that till you told me.
Well, I mean, I used to be a flexible bitch. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you were. What was up with that? I just remember you would walk in and just kick really high for no reason. I don't understand why.
Yeah, John be like, "Hey, y'all, sit this. Hey, y'all." It just start. You've heard of throwing the hands. Jonathan was throwing legs.
Yeah, I like literally throwing them. But I mean, I used to do martial arts when I was really little.
That's true.
So, I mean, you keep a lot of that shit until you don't use it for nearly 20 years.
But you know what hasn't expired? Johnson's license to kill.
Oh, gosh.
God, if I were to do martial arts right now, I would look like a discount Steven Seagal.
Oh, hell yeah.
But with less human trafficking.
Much less human trafficking.
holding it down with 0.
I hope.
You know, clearing that mighty high bar that is committing, some of the worst heinous fucking shit you can imagine.
Human trafficking, not even once.
Not even once. Just like meth. Don't do it, kids.
Unless you're part of the movement to make meth a recreational drug.
I don't know about that one.
Which I don't know how I feel about that. That's like, because there's some stuff I'm just like, even decriminalizing it. I don't know. I've seen how much that shit wrecks people.
We live in an area where it's riddled. Every family's got a meth story.
Oh yeah, every family's got a meth story. And I shit you not, like 10 years ago, around the time when Breaking Bad was on TV, we had a guy just maybe like 20 miles down the road who was named Walter White, who cooked apparently some killer fucking meth. I didn't sample it for myself. I'm just going off of third-hand information.
Oh yeah, John speaking only from third-hand experience. Yeah, there definitely wasn't a time where John was a fiend in the crawl space and attics of Alabama, and he was called Meth Mall John.
Yeah. I'm not like the streamer Destiny who said that he accidentally took meth.
I saw that.
Damn.
I was so out of it. I was like, what in the hell are you talking about, dude? How do you accidentally do meth? I don't know what you're doing.
Fucking Destiny. We're not getting into that.
No.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I was actually talking with a coworker earlier today just about the absurdity of how this wave of now that weed is just an afterthought now. Who cares? Weed is legal in some parts of the country. That people are just pushing for heavy stuff. Heroin. It's okay to use. You can just use it like it's nothing. It's just a little feel good bump, and it's like. I don't know if just slamming is just going to be the new thing. But the thing that bothers me the most about heavy drugs being decriminalized, it's the fucking bougie white people are going to have their little pop-up stores in LA trying to sell high-end D-tier drugs.
God, that I'm trying not to imagine that universe. I know at least with decriminalizing it, I don't think it means we're gonna have meth dispensaries or anything. But even just giving people who are addicted a safe place to do it, or better resources to help people with addiction. You think that'd be easy? Just allocate the money to the right places.
Oh, I remember doing specifically a project in college. There is this particular place in Seattle, I believe, where they have it's essentially a safe place for heroin users. Basically, people come in and they have a staff there to help them. Gives them fresh water, clean needles, light, and helps them find the right vein to inject in. And while very few of these people seek recovery, because there is a place hey, if you want to stop using heroin, we have resources for that too. Very few of them take that resource, but ever since that place opened, heroin overdoses and HIV and or blood transmitted diseases dropped drastically in that area around that clinic. So say what you will about heroin, when there's not this danger in it, much less people die, and that's kind of important.
Well, and I think because everyone's so scared about getting caught with it, and there's so many environmental and sociological factors that lead people to start, doing heroin. I mean, it's not like people wake up and it's what I'm going to do today, dope.
Heroin, it makes you feel brand new. It's just like a Allegro commercial, some white lady's dancing through flowers with a fucking needle in her arm.
It's ladies, are you tired of the rest cure? Here's some fucking heroin. You want some opiates? Here you go.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that for Pat's 4-year anniversary so far, all we've talked about is hard and heavy drugs.
I know. I was like, I wonder how long we're going to keep this going.
It is funny because I listened back to my first episode earlier today, and Cody was on steroids in my first episode. So I'm just saying.
I don't know the context of that.
Because, like, don't y'all remember way back in early parts of AYCH where Cody would just get a cough for 3 solid months?
A cough?
Like, back in the day, Cody would just, like, every year, like, in the fall or something, like, he would just get this constant nagging cough that he just could not shake for, like, a literal quarter of the entire year.
Yeah. I say that as
as you cough your lungs
honestly,
up.
I have like year-round bronchitis.
I think Johnson, ever since Cody moved on to bigger and better things, Johnson just inherited that role on the show.
I guess.
And also Wenzel was satanic.
Yeah, that's par for the course.
Yeah.
That's on brand.
Very much on brand.
And I will say I was pleasantly surprised listening back to my first episode. I didn't feel like as cringe as I thought I would because I feel like a little pat on the back.
Little pat on the pat.
Little tiny
Yeah,
pat.
little tiny pat. There's actually a smaller pat on top of me right now that only I can see.
And he's giving you a pat on the back.
Yep. I was actually pretty pleased how just easily and like quickly I kind of jumped into the fracas of it all. I know it was a lot of people who start to, are like getting used to being recorded for the first time. It's like it's an adjustment. It's like, oh, even if you talk to the same people literally 5 seconds before the recording goes on, you're kind of like, yeah, it's fine. But then like once that sort of light turns on, it's like realize, oh, this is like being performative in a way. It starts to change.
You have to get in a different mindset to talk. I don't want to say professionally, but you know, doing something like this where there is some level of performance and theatricality.
Yeah. You got to keep in mind that like you got to keep it slightly entertaining, but you don't want to force it. You don't want to make it be like, man, you are hurting me.
Yeah, and I think it just takes some time, just like. Especially like for us who don't really have any sort of media training.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of just have to learn as we go.
Yeah.
Kind of like bull in a china shop.
Yeah, we're very autodidactic on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't need improv classes in comedy school. We just have a hard knock life.
I don't have the money for that. I wasn't born into a good enough family to where I could afford to go to comedy school. Who the hell do you think I am?
Yeah, like, never would I thought I would be on a comedy program because my parents are still married. So, like, that's also one strike against me.
You just don't have fucking trauma, Pat.
No, I have to overcome trauma in a different way and just find something that's inherent to my being that just makes my life a lot harder in the society at large. If only I had that.
If only.
If only.
If only.
How about instead of every time you eat chicken, make sure it's raw? That'll be the suffering you endure.
It's like, hey, Doc, I keep getting food poisoning and I don't know why.
It's like, have you been eating raw chicken?
How do you know?
You got salmonella, motherfucker.
You're here every other week with it. But how can I get salmonella? It's chicken.
That makes sense. Only eggs give you salmonellas.
Yeah. Then Rihanna will do a cover of her song Umbrella, talking about the dangers of food poisoning. Salmonella, Ella.
Oh my God! What year is this?
And then we get the DJ Khaled remix with a verse from Nicki Minaj talking about her cousin's friend, big honking nuts.
Yeah, remember everyone, the vaccine is stored in the balls.
Vaccine is stored in the balls, and don't you fucking forget it.
Yeah, the microchip.
Snowflakes.
It's gone straight down to my testicles. One testicle is like 4 sizes bigger.
Yeah, Colt's got like a limp. He's so heavy on one side he starts walking in a circle.
It's so bad. My balls are massive now. Oh my God, I hate this vaccine. I just need to know when I can get my next one so I can even it out.
Well, you would think when you got the first shot would go to one ball, and the second shot would go to the second ball. Apparently, they just both went to the same ball.
Yeah.
Apparently, they gave Colt like the left serum twice.
Oh gosh.
It's like left and right Twix.
Yeah, pretty much.
God damn it.
But what have we been up to? What's everybody been up to?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I'll start off. I got blocked on Twitter by one of my favorite video game developers.
Which 10 out of 10.
In case you're wondering how that happened, I made an innocuous tweet way at the start of the day, like in the morning, saying something to the effect of Beautiful Joe, one of my favorite games from 2003. Beautiful Joe is one of my favorite games. It's Hideki Kamiya's Forgotten Child. Hopefully one day he'll remember and we can get a remaster collection. Now, I did not at the man at all. I just made a simple text tweet with a little GIF. And then way later that night, like it was like 9, 10 o'clock, I happened to open Twitter and my mentions are on fucking fire. And so come to find out, Hideki Kamiya, the creator of Beautiful Joe, along with other such series as Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, had just vanity searched my tweet somehow and was just like something to the effect of, I told you 100 billion times I don't own Beautiful Joe, it's Capcom's IP, you idiot. And then he retweeted, like he tweeted it with my tweet text in his text. It wasn't a retweet or wasn't a quote tweet. It was like he copy pasted my tweet.
He
somehow.
does it
Anyhow,
so that like whenever he blocks you, you won't be able to see the tweet that he quote tweets. So he just copies it. So
yeah.
So
so my mentions were just going off all night long, and then eventually I've stopped being able to see his tweets. Like, hold on, what happened? And then like it happened, like the thing that everybody who knows Hideki Kamiya for. I got the the legendary block.
You got the fucking ban hammer.
Yeah,
and
you. Because in case you don't know, Hideki Kamiya is a very irascible, ornery guy on Twitter who is set off by the slightest provocation. Some thoughtless comment or thoughtless tweet about his work, and then you don't even have to directly mention it. He will find it somehow.
And you don't even have to say a bad thing about him or his work. You could say, I love Hideki Kamiya's work. I hope it'd be cool if we get like a Beautiful Joe 3. I'd love it. Then he'll reply with, you idiot, you imbecile, how dare you talk to me about Beautiful Joe. You know it's Capcom. I've said this millions of times.
It's like anything that he deems like annoying in that moment, he's just like, fuck you, blocked. Like his like itchy block finger is so legendary that literally on the Kickstarter page for the Switch remaster for Wonderful 101, one of the high stretch goals was Kamiya was going to unblock everyone on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
So it's like when the Wonderful 101 got the Switch remake, so I guess he emptied out the block list and had to fill it back up.
He's like, it's hunting season now.
Because like if you go to like his Twitter, like his header picture is like literally all these compiled tweets of him just like dog cussing, or not dog cussing, like just dogging out people, like you stupid imbeciles. He really likes to use to insult insects, like you stupid insect, you tiny insect. And he just carries on like that. Like it's a known bit on Twitter now, and like nobody's upset that they get blocked. It's almost like a badge of honor at this point.
Oh yeah, it's just like, hell yeah, I pissed off this fucking Japanese man. It's like, woo!
and so like there are people who like intentionally go to him in order to get blocked, and it worked, because it doesn't matter what you say to him. Just like if he's just feeling the Holy Spirit, he's just like, fuck you, block.
Well, I get it's a bit, but at the same time, I kind of think like, man, I don't like it. I don't like the bit. It just feels, I I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way.
And I can see how it could be kind of hurtful. Like, if someone's not chronically online like we are.
Yeah, like, you made
oh.
that tweet. I doubt you knew that he tweeted that millions of times that I do not own Beautiful Joe. Or the rights to Beautiful Joe.
So, yeah, I forgot that Beautiful Joe is owned by Capcom. Like, he doesn't have access to it. So that's why there's never been, like, a remake from his, like, a remake or remaster from his end. Like, Capcom would have to get the ball rolling on that. And I don't know if you know Capcom, but they're not super great with, like, keeping their IPs, like, fresh and in the public eye outside of, like, various, like, little gotcha stuff or something.
They're getting better.
Well,
They're getting better. Like Resident Evil,
Resident
Street
Evil's
Fighter,
fine.
they're only ones that fucking get any recognition. Monster Hunter's getting way better, though.
I mean, there's a Devil May Cry, like, DLC for Monster. I guess our only hope for Beautiful Joe is if it's somehow a DLC in, like, Resident Evil or Monster Hunter or Street Fighter or something.
Beautiful Joe and Resident Evil would just be fucking funny.
I mean, oh God, like, because after the day after, like, the blocking incident, like, I went down a rabbit hole just reliving my memories of Beautiful Joe, because that's easily one of my favorite games of all time. And, like, it's kind of just like this franchise that was left hanging. You had, like, 2 main entries, a couple of, like, spin-off games, and then they were positioned to do a third one, but then that original studio closed. I think Okami is one of the last games Clover Studio made.
Like, I remember when that game came out because it was pretty big, and I remember the ads for it everywhere, and wanting to play it, but just never getting around to it.
Yeah.
And in case you don't know, Beautiful Joe was this GameCube game originally. Came out in 2003. It's like this 2.5D side-scrolling beat-em-up, essentially. And it's very much flavored by tokusatsu and, like the Japanese superhero genre. And, like, it's sort of funny to think that, you know, I was, like, predisposed to like this game because, like, it's in a lot of people's estimation, it's the best Kamen Rider game ever made.
Yeah.
Because it's very that, like, you know, 1970s and 80s Toku, like the lone hero with the helmet and the scarf fighting off all these different monsters, taking on a shadowy organization. And it just has, like, you know, that Kamiya, like, style. Like, it's just over the top, like, stylish, action heavy, and just oozes, like, charisma and just, like, imagination, which is, like, all of his games are known for.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of really cool stuff that Kamiya does, and, you know, your mileage may vary on his, like, his Twitter personality.
Yeah, I love his work, though. 100% love his work. His bits, not so much.
Yeah, work on the bits there, Kamiya. Then maybe I consider following you again.
I mean, you can't. You're blocked, Pat. You're banished to the Shadow Realm unless some other game gets kickstarted.
Yeah, well, I might have some folks on the inside. You don't know.
Okay.
Pat was friends with him the entire time. It's an inside
Yeah,
job.
it was actually, like, a big, like, publicity stunt for the show. It cost about $18,000.
Yay. More debt.
But don't worry, y'all don't have to pay for it.
Oh, good.
Or neither do I, honestly. Thanks to some legal switcheroos, a different Patrick is now footing that bill.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no. We just ruined a guy's life.
Well, no, this guy was already dead. I just pulled someone who had my same name out of a corpse registry.
That immediately goes to the family. That's even worse.
The best part is they all died at the same time.
It's going to somebody, Pat.
Hey, I researched this thoroughly. I did not economically crash somebody. It's a victimless crime, Jonathan.
I don't know. Something tells me it's not. Someone's getting fucked at the end of this. And I have a feeling it's going to be like a 50th cousin or something.
50th cousin. Well, that was my week. What did y'all get up to?
For me, it's been a kind of uneventful week. Man, it's just been me playing a lot of Assassin's Creed. I recently beat and platinumed the Valhalla, the latest entry in the series. Absolutely love the game. I didn't know any of the lore beforehand or the story from past games, so I didn't realize it was as crazy as it was. Whoa, because this is a general spoiler for every Assassin's Creed game. If you've played the early ones 10 years ago, you'll probably know this. But every god's real. Every religion, every god is real. So that shit fucked me up as soon as I found that out. And after beating Valhalla, I went back immediately. I'm playing Odyssey, going back to fight the Greeks or be a Greek. I don't know. I'm only 40-something minutes into it. But after that, oh shoot, I watched Phantasm last night. The movie with the creepy old man and the flying ball thing.
Oh yeah. That's definitely a very under commented on horror series.
The movie's mostly boring, but it's got some cool things in it that I really liked. It's got a few cool scenes, but the music is what was my favorite part about the entire movie. The music's fantastic. I don't know who did the music, but boy, it was just amazing.
Let's see. We are about to find out.
I know I mentioned it somewhere before, but one of the weirdest things I thought about the Phantasm franchise is that the entire series takes place like in relatively short amount of time in universe. Like I know the first movie is about like a young boy and gets mixed up with the tall man. But then, like, every subsequent movie, it's like, oh, yeah, this takes place a year later, and every character is supposed to be, like, in their 20s or 30s or whatever, but they're, like, real-life actors are drastically older in each installment.
Yeah, I'm interested in watching more, because it had some fun moments. It was weird how it just, like, ripped stuff straight from Dune. The first thing that they ripped was the very beginning of the movie. They have this little boy going to this psychic person that, like, he's like, I want to know about this. If I'm doing this, will my brother leave the town? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, put your hand in this box. And he puts his hand in the box and he starts feeling pain. And the little girl's like, don't feel the pain. Fear is the killer. Fear is the killer. Not saying mind killer. Fear is the killer. And the little kid's like,
that's straight up from Dune, like unambiguously.
And the little boy's like, oh, so if I don't fear, the pain goes away, and the pain just stops. And he gives the old lady $20, and then she makes the box disappear. It's got some weird things going on there. The little drone thing, that silver ball with the spikes on it, it reminds me of the little assassin drone that they have in the Dune universe. That if you've seen the new Dune movie, you saw it in action. That feels like it's stripped from Dune. And also the bar in the town is called like Dune's Bar. They had a lot of inspiration going on there.
Yeah, they were probably paying homage to Dune. Because that would be around the... Because it was pretty popular when it came out, right? And that book was written, what, in the early 50s?
Yeah, it was 65. Yeah, Dune's always been popular. It makes sense, but...
Star Wars is heavily inspired by Dune.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Just makes me want to throw up. Just ripping the Gom Jabbar scene.
There's a Dune reference in Billy and Mandy. They said Gom Jabbar.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, it's the episode of Billy and Mandy where Mandy is in a talent show or like a beauty contest, and the little snotty girl, like there's like a montage, there's like rapid cut gags, and the last one is like Gom Jabbar, and like she sticks her hand in the thing, she gets like, it burns, and she freaks out. And it's like, okay, well, that's a cut.
That's real good. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
But I watched Phantasm. It was okay. Then I watched Nightmare on Elm Street like 2 hours ago. Really, really fun movie. There was one scene that had me actually laughing pretty hard, and it was the very end scene. Spoilers.
I know about what you're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the end of the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The mom was waving away to as her daughter was driving off in the Freddy mobile, and then she just gets yoinked through the house door window. It was so good. I don't know how they did that. I think they just put a mannequin and ripped it through the window.
It's clearly like an inflatable doll.
Just yanked it in. And what's funny about that scene, other than this, the inherent hilarity of it, is that the studio's like asked, or I guess maybe pressed Wes Craven to give the movie like a more like a darker ending, because apparently the original draft for the movie had is a pretty definitive happy ending, and the studio's like, yeah, we need something a bit more spunk to it, so give it this like more like darker, more mysterious ending, which is what we got.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you got. But
yeah, but the whole like mama just get yoinked like you said, just through that little tiny hole in the door is. One, it's so absurd and shocking. It's like you just can't help but laugh. But then we kind of like see the datiness of it. It's even more funny.
Oh yeah.
But it's still a good bit. It's a great bit. I just remember when we watched it, John and I last year together. We were just sort of taken by a few points. One, why is it in every 1980s show or movie that the protagonists live in these fucking like comically large mansions?
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street house is now just up for sale, and it's like $3 million. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, it's a big house. I mean, I imagine it's in LA.
Yeah.
So of course, a cheap house in LA is going to be at least $1 million.
And it's like literally 3 people live in that house. And it's like...
And it's literally like a sorority. It is literally a sorority house.
Like the whole... Like you can fit two of the entire families from Home Alone in that fucking house.
Oh, exactly. It's like 7-bedroom, 5.5 bath or some bullshit.
It's like, what is this fucking Sarah Winchester mystery mansion bullshit?
And they only used like 3 rooms in the basement for the whole movie.
Oh, for like the boiler room stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's not like a lot you can do with that too. I mean, eventually you're gonna be like doing, the same parts, just shooting them at different angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun when we watched OG Nightmare last year. I still plan to watch the gay one, the second one, at some point.
I plan on watching all of them, honestly.
And then there's a really cool documentary on Shudder I've been waiting to watch until I watched the second one. That's called Scream Queen, which is about the main actor from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and sort of like the fallout of that film. It being so gay coded and him being a closeted gay man in this era, and how that kind of affected his career both then and going forward.
I'm curious because on Letterboxd, the second one has got it's the lowest score of the earlier ones. It's like 2.7, which isn't that bad, but it's still lower than expected.
I know that from kind of like the looking into it a little bit, the big reason why it's so low is because it's very, very different from the first one. As a lot of people feel like it doesn't feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but like they just kind of went in a different direction for the second one. And but in a lot of ways, like I guess like even during the time, and especially now, like because it has this like different story and like different direction, and of course all the the gay subtext. Like it's found like this new life as a piece of queer cinema.
Yeah.
Whether unintentionally, like there's a lot of back and forth about like the making of the movie, but like it has its like sincere appreciators now.
And it seems like, especially these long-running horror franchises, there's usually one that is clearly like the black sheep.
Yeah.
Whether that be like Halloween 3 or Nightmare 2,
or like at least a very
Jason X.
Polarized. It's really interesting to see like which ones are kind of like simultaneously like beloved and like hated. Because like Halloween 3 is like it stands out because like one because the first because 3 was going to be the point where they wanted to turn Halloween into like this anthological franchise. Like each sequel will be like a different story under like a Halloween banner.
But they definitely went back on that
because 3 underperformed so badly compared to people wanted Michael Myers, and like they sort of went back to that. And
I feel like if they were going to do the anthology, they should have done it with 2.
Yeah, like especially considering like the story behind 2. Apparently, because John Carpenter and his wife got fucking like tit rock drunk and wrote the script for it.
Yeah, because that was the only way they could physically make themselves do it.
Yeah, because they didn't want to make a sequel to that. And then like it's like, well, fuck, here we go. And like, and plus, one of the things that always like has my curiosity is like all these different like jumping off points for the series, like all the what could have been. Like in Friday the 13th 4, Corey Feldman's character is like implied to be evil at the end after they kill Jason. Like he was going to take over to be the bad guy. Or in Halloween 4, Daniel Harris and the Michael's niece, she sort of inherited his evil, and then she was going to take over as like the villain. But then like all these things kind of wish-washed and kind of like turned the car back around so they didn't happen. So I'm always wondering like what the what ifs could have been for like a lot of these things.
But yeah, a lot of times, what's necessarily popular may not be the most interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. There's the tide is always kind of affected by like the popular interest and what makes the most money. Even if it's like the more interesting option doesn't make the most money.
Well, like I clearly remember a time when like Halloween 3 was unanimously thought of as a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting to see how like over really is like the past like decade and a half, it's like critical reevaluation, like sort of in real time.
Yeah.
Where now it's almost like 180. Like people love what that movie represents and is.
Yeah. Right. Like in a lot of ways, it's more beloved than maybe like what the series is known for.
Oh yeah.
So it's always interesting to see like what people champion is like the strong points of the series. Like I know there's people who like love Jason X and it's just goofy bullshit.
It's literally Jason in space.
Yeah, like he's a cyborg and he kills people in space. And a lot of people think like that's fucking rock stupid. A lot of people like Halloween Resurrection because Busta Rhymes fucking fights Michael Myers.
That did exist.
Gosh,
like,
I need to watch
like,
the Halloween series.
Yeah, man. Like, look at Busta Rhymes now.
Like the thought of like going through all the Halloween movies, I don't know, seems a little exhausting. And then I'm like, I'm the motherfucker who bought the entire Leprechaun series on Blu-ray and very much intends to watch all of them.
Yeah.
So like, I really have no room to talk.
And I want to say I heard earlier this year that, oh goodness, that there is going to be a new edition of Halloween 4, either 4 or 5, where there is an alternate opening to the film that's added back into it. It's been like, it's called like the Dr. Death opening, and it's something that's been known in the horror circles, but like because it's never been officially released, it's like this extra cut that just gets passed around in like the back rooms or whatever, that it's finally being added into an official release of it.
Okay.
So that'd be interesting to see. And I know like 4 and 5 are a more maligned portion of that series, but like it too is, like anything, if it exists long enough, someone's can become a champion for it. But that's not the. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but yeah, my week's been very weak. It's been a week, and I guess earlier today, after I finished Nightmare on Elm Street, I picked up Dune Messiah again, and I'm loving it. It's a good book. They got some cool stuff in there.
Which one is this?
It's the second one.
The second one.
As soon as I finished the first book, I started this one, got halfway through, and then just dropped it because reading was very hard for me. As in, I can't focus very long, or I couldn't focus long enough, and I'd get very distracted. And I had just finished the first Dune book, and I said, I need a break.
Yeah. I remember when I was trying to go through the Game of Thrones books. Like, I would be like, I'd finish one, and those are fucking monsters. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to start the second one. I'd get like a couple chapters in and just be burnt out.
Because y'all talked about it briefly in chat, but kind of like you have to, like, if you haven't read books in a while, you kind of have to reacclimate your body and brain to, like, reading again, essentially. Especially for, like, an extended period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to be a very voracious reader. Like, I mean, hell, that was part of my degree I didn't get. But, I guess it was because being in English in college, like, you read so much, and it's stuff that's really fucking dense.
Yeah.
So, I just kind of got burnt out on the whole thing and haven't read in, like, 5 years, really.
It makes sense. If like, something that you enjoy is kind of be made to be, like, work, and it's just kind of, like, pushed on you, it's very easy to see how, like, you just don't want to do that for a while because it's no longer the thing you enjoy. It's just like this obstacle almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my week. Nothing much. Anybody else got a week?
I mean, not really all that much. Just chilling, getting the spooky season, getting ready for all the festivities and stuff. Been watching a lot of movies, a lot of spooky movies.
That's true. When this goes up, it will no longer be Halloween, but we got 3 days left. I got time to watch some stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you live in this house, it's spooky year round.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like November is just gonna be like Halloween Part 2 for us.
I mean, that's how it is for me. I watch scary movies year round. I don't even know a time frame when I stop because I'm scared all the time, and I need help.
Yeah, Colt is shivering as we speak. Mm-hmm. We actually have to edit it out of the episode.
You just hear the bones rattling, like.
Like he's just like whimpering and like just jerking his head around, looking what's in the corner. But what were some of the movies we watched, John? There.
Let's see. You want to go through the ones that we watched together?
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we mention on the last time we watched the original Scream?
No, I don't think we talked about watching Scream yet.
But anyway, we watched the first 2 Scream movies, and I have to say, they're pretty fun.
Yeah. As someone who didn't watch or really have, like, much, I guess, interest, honestly, in Scream until this year, like, I really like Scream now. Like, Scream's probably, like, quickly becoming one of my favorite horror series.
Oh, yeah. It's... I've thought, like, all the, like, the meta commentary would get on my nerves. But, I mean, especially when you take it in the context of, like, 96 and 97, yeah, like, I mean, the shit like that didn't exist.
So, like, when there's definitely, by today's standards, like, some heavy-handed reference. Like, it's, like, it's pretty, like, obvious what they're calling out. But at the same time, up until this point, that didn't exist. So, like, it's very just like, oh, my God, they're doing that. and plus like with a lot of the big moments from Scream are kind of known now, at least to some respect. So like that opening scene with Drew Barrymore, like that fucking gagged the whole fucking nation because it didn't do that well on its first release, but then like word of mouth pushed it to number one at like a month after. They got put back into theaters back in the day because people were just like, holy shit, did you see this fucking movie? And so we watched 1 and 2. We planned to watch the rest, and then Scream 5 comes out in January.
That is true. Hopefully the January release date. Hope it doesn't smell doom for that movie.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Because I know y'all been watching stuff for Cajun Greatness, but y'all saved that for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, me and Pat watched this found footage movie called Lake Mungo.
Yeah.
And that was like legit one of the spookiest movies I've seen in a while. Like just as far as like inducing like a level of dread.
Because I remember really like we started it, and then like Cannon and eventually Liz, they all joined us too, and they're kind of like, oh fuck, and like throughout. And plus the movie takes so many turns. Like we won't go into that here because a lot of the like feeling should be best preserved for viewers if you haven't seen it. But the general plot is kicked off with a young girl who goes missing at a family function at a lake, and then her body is found. And then the story is sort of told through this faux documentary about it, and it's just like all the different places it goes. And there's like some genuinely like surprising and scary moments. Like I remember there were different points being like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, and there was so many. I watched this movie sometime this summer, and oh my god, there's so many moments where it's like, I see something there. Why isn't that being brought up? There's something right there. Why are they not talking about it? But then it wraps around later in the movie.
And yeah, because it's kind of really low quality. Like the movie was shot in like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of like really crappy phone camera quality, but that adds to the horror of it. But yeah, like I don't think HD does this movie very well, because like if you didn't have such a clear picture, you like Colt said, there would be like things in the corner that you would see like, wait, is that something over there? But then they'll zoom into something else on the screen, and by the end of the movie, you'll see like the same picture.
Like a few different times, it's like all this other stuff happening in it.
Yeah, in the background that you're not noticing. And when it like highlights it, it's just like, holy shit, that's fucked.
And cause I remember like we were all like kind of like on edge. Like I remember I was sitting next to the window, and I was kind of like trying not to look out the window while I was watching this movie, because I was like in like just the spooky zone. I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to turn around and see like somebody fucking standing on our porch just like looking dead eye down our window.
Oh yeah, and it was a very sad movie.
Yeah, if like while there is like some general like spooky and scary vibes, like the overall tone of the movie is very tragic.
Yeah, it was just really sad. When I made the Twin Peaks connection with it, I'm like, oh, this makes so much more sense now.
Yeah. Talking about like big media series that have like long reaching influences, like we talked about with Dune and Phantasm, and now Twin Peaks with Lake Mungo.
With Lake Mungo,
we gotta go to Mungo, Morty.
We gotta go to Mungo to get me cube.
Like after the movie, we were just kind of like having this conversation, and we just break into like Bushland Adventures, Rick and Morty bits.
It was almost like our way of deflecting from like the actual like tragedy of that movie. We gotta go to Mungo. And then the last movie we watched together was the first Sam Raimi Evil Dead.
Yep.
Which I've been super familiar with the franchise. I think Evil Dead 2 is probably like my favorite horror movie, and I love Army of Darkness to death. But like I never really watched the first one. Like I'd seen bits and pieces over the years, but you know, it's like, well, I mean, it's like the second movie's kind of a remake as well as a sequel, so it's like you kind of don't need to watch the first movie. You can just go straight into Evil Dead 2, and that is a more cohesive vision. But I, even now, still really enjoy the first Evil Dead. Like, and despite it being very low budget, shot in the late 70s, there's still some stuff in it that was just like genuinely like scary
and like unnerving, like, and just like what they're able to accomplish with such a small budget. Like to me, one of the best like practical effects is when Ash's girlfriend gets stabbed in the foot.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that was like, oh fuck, that was like somebody's actual leg that just got like mutilated.
Yeah, it was. And they hold on it.
And once you just like digging the pencil into like her fucking like Achilles.
Yeah. And even like if the makeup is kind of goofy, I mean, which it is, to me the sound design in the movie is just like, especially the voices of the Deadite, or I don't think they were called Deadites at this point.
But you know, like the possessed demonic characters.
Yeah, and the movie was really like loud at points. Just,
yeah.
Like when like characters are just screaming and laughing, and I would give the movie a lot higher score, but
I mean, everybody knows like that scene from Evil Dead.
yeah, it's just one
It's
of
just
those
not
things, like,
necessary.
Mr. Raimi,
You don't need
like,
that.
Why? Like, it was so uncomfortable. I'm like, dude, why did we have to have the rape tree? We didn't need that.
And Sam Raimi like has gone back to say, he's like, yeah, look, if I were to redo that movie today, I wouldn't include the rape tree scene.
Yeah, but I think they were like 19 or 20 years old. I mean, that doesn't excuse it, but it's like, oh, it makes sense.
It's kind of like, you know, if they're trying to make some like a provocative movie, like someone who's younger who doesn't think about certain things, be like, oh, let's just put something really fucked up in it, you know, when really what else they could have done to elicit that horror and not do that. One thing about the makeup that going back got really kind of fucked with me is just like the full white contacts they had.
Yeah,
and like hearing kind of the stories of them like getting the makeup is kind of like anxiety inducing, because apparently they said the contacts they wore for the Deadite parts were, quote, as thick as glass.
Ugh.
yeah, like there's a scene where Ash's girlfriend is like fully possessed and coming after him, and she cannot see at all. So like Bruce Campbell's having to like help, you know, kind of help move her around while also making it look natural too.
Yeah. So like there's like a lot of really cool stuff. One kind of issue I had with it additionally was like, as like fun of the movie is, I kind of feel like the second half really suffers from pacing, because it feels like it just goes, like the movie is not long, but kind of feel like this portion of the film's like, okay, you could probably had tidied this up a little bit.
Yeah, and this movie is going for more of the straight horror. So there's not as many of the gags as there are in 2, like the fight with the hand and him just going crazy, and all the like deer heads that are mounting on the wall are going crazy.
Like
there's like individual bits that they build on in the sequel that you know, this just kind of feels a little ho hum.
But it is funny to see, like, especially when you have like a certain tone or style that's kind of like signature for a series, to go back to the early portion of it and be like, before that's really established. Yeah. And it's like after we finished Evil Dead, like I went on my own and watched the Evil Dead TV show that was recently put on Netflix, and like it is just like really like goofy and like actiony, and like Bruce Campbell was just being like this swaggering like comic book character, and like it's night and day who he is in the first movie. He's almost kind of like he's just like regular dude is got to do some fucked up shit. It's like, oh god, like he gets thrown around like 18 times in the movie, just like thrown in the walls and the bookshelves and shit.
Yeah.
Like he just gets slapped around, like, and he's not the protagonist until like it's kind of like revealed that he's the final character.
Yeah, very much so, and like even like by Army of Darkness, I don't really consider Army of Darkness a horror movie. I mean, that really has more in common with like Buster Keaton and Three Stooges than it does with horror. But I think one of the big things with this movie that I think I appreciated more than actually sitting down and enjoying the experience, because like you said, after stuff starts to happen, I feel like it kind of plays its hand a little too early.
Mm-hmm.
And really, by the hour mark, everyone but Ash is either turned or dead.
Yeah, but there's still like 20 more minutes to go of him just like dealing with the shit happening.
But
Yeah,
it
and
had
there's
like an amazing ending where everybody turned into cream corn.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love how much goop there was in this movie.
Yeah, I really love the stop motion and God, the cinematography. Like the opening shot of the movie is like over a lake, and it, you know, there's the famous Raimi tracking shot.
Yeah.
And it is like, how did these dipshit kids do this in like the middle of Tennessee in the late 70s?
Yeah, for like
with like no
$15,000 or some shit.
Yeah, it was like hella inexpensive.
So it's still like a strong film that's worth seeking out with the proper cautions.
Yeah. Continuing on the same Sam Raimi track, because after we watched Evil Dead, I was just in the mood. Like I'm debating on getting the Spider-Man set, because I haven't seen those movies in years. But on my own, I watched Drag Me to Hell, and that is like just a buck fucking wild movie that I would give a higher score to if it was like, if just like the conceit of the movie was, because it's like hella capital P problematic.
Yeah, the whole thing of like, I don't know how I like to say other than to say it, but like the whole like gypsy curse, even though that's not like a friendly word to use in that position, but for lack of better term,
Let's just say like the Romani woman.
Yeah, like
curses.
like the slighted Romani woman.
So we avoid the slur.
Yeah, so that's the plot of the film. Like,
yeah,
she pisses off this old lady who hits her with that curse, and then it just gets wild and like, according to John's review, pretty gross.
There were a couple times in the movie I nearly puked. It was a lot of puke and a lot of like bile.
just like the gross bodily fluids.
Yeah, and apparently like I was watching the unrated version, but like apparently the movie was released at theaters PG-13. And I was like, I guess the MPAA doesn't have a problem with vomit, because God, there's one scene where she's at the funeral of the lady. Spoilers, I guess. This is about halfway through the movie. And through just like comical, absurdist shenanigans, the body ends up falling on top of her, and then like the embalming fluid just like pours out of the old lady's mouth into her mouth. And there's a lot of like puking in people's mouths. And
it's just a Family Guy bit where they're like, where they just puke for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. But like, if you can look past the initial the problematic aspects of the initial conceit of the movie, it is so much fun. It is, I think, even better than like Evil Dead 2 really threads the needle between horror and comedy. Because I mean, it is there are parts of the movie that are genuinely like big scares, but then like there's one point, there's this demon gets pushed into a goat, and the goat starts talking, and it's like, you think you can do this to me? It's just, my brain broke. It's a really fun movie, but just know about that going in. Yeah, that's mostly what I've been up to.
Nice. Off record. What are we at right now?
We're at 61 minutes.
Okay. Y'all want to wind down now, or you have anything more you want to say?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm good with winding now.
All right. Well, I think we well, I think this has been a good anniversary show. Like, you know, we just hung out and shot some shit, much like the very first podcast, you know. Because like behind the curtain, I did plan to do like another like research introduction show where I would go into detail about something I like and introduce it to the cast, but just with how busy we've been personally and just like all the other shows that we do now, because we didn't actually have 3 shows to do back in 2017, so like we definitely are a little more busy now. But so I wasn't able to do as much research and kind of flesh it out like I wanted to. I plan to revisit the topic just at a later date when I have more time to devote to it.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this was just a fun show. You know, after a month full of themed content, it's fun to have just a hangout talking banner show.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a cannon coming in at the end. Enjoying some sort of burger.
Oh, it's the McRib. It's the McRib season.
My first episode of this show was because of this bastard, and look what came early.
Christmas did come early to Cannon.
Dustin is pissed.
Oh, no.
It was supposed to come out the first.
Yeah, the McRib dropped early, and Justin, the saint of McRib, as far as AYCH is concerned, hasn't gotten one yet.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but there, I would say now that the McRib is back, there might be some more McRib content in the future. So look forward to that, or look forward to what else we do coming forward in the month of November, because I think we have a lot of really fun stuff planned for you this month, and a lot of big stuff happening in our real lives too. So it's going to be a big month on air and off air too. But thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to like, rate, view, subscribe wherever podcasts are found. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. We're on all of those and more. Be sure to like, rate, view, subscribe on all those. Keeps us visible, puts us in front of new people. We always appreciate you when you do it. Follow us on our socials on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast, Letterboxd, and Facebook at AllYouCanHear. Twitch at twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and YouTube is also at AllYouCanHear. And you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name, and my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is John. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and John Owens 12 on Letterboxd.
My name's Colt. Follow me on Twitter, ColtD00. Do me a favor and go outside and eat the leftover pumpkins from off people's porches.
But, you're doing your civic duty, and it's better for the environment. Also, that might be another drug, because animals have eaten fermented pumpkins and they get tick rot drunk. So, look into that. And also, you can't be arrested for eating pumpkins.
It's not a crime. Unless it is, then it is.
And then we don't endorse the cool crime of eating pumpkins off of people's porches.
Yeah.
And then that's one to grow on, folks. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Shrek 2 has the best DVD movie.